I'm Megan, and thanks for joining me today. This is a somatic infusion class, so we'll do a little bit of movement, but gentle and very interoceptive movement where we're working through our felt sense, and then we'll go into some still yin postures to hold. And our focus today is on the feet, which are, I call them our first responders, but you can also think of them as the roots of your spine. And oftentimes I know when I go into yin postures that involve the feet, there's a lot of stiffness and discomfort. So I do find that doing a somatic warm-up for the feet really helps me to take the yin postures more comfortably. So a couple of things that you are going to want today, which one is a ball or balls. Here I have a small pink rubber ball or a tennis ball. You can also use dryer balls, but we're going to explore the feet with the balls. So you might want to grab a couple different types in case one feels like it's too stiff. You can always go softer. And then you're also going to want a strap for today. And of course, anything else that makes your space feel yummy and inviting, we'll be doing yin. So if you want to put a blanket on top of your mat, a pillow under your head, any of that sort of thing. So we're going to start standing today, and you're welcome to use a wall. I encourage you to use a wall if you feel tippy at all, because we want to feel like we're grounded into our bones. A big part of feeling our feet is allowing the bones to stack. Think of everything, so the ankles stack under the knees and the knees stack under the hips, right? And we can keep going all the way up to the shoulders and the ears and the skull stacking on top of the neck, right? So that feeling of stacking bones onto the feet, but without force. We're not pushing into the floor. We're also not pulling it away to the floor. We'll start with our left foot first today. I am going to start with the pink ball. If you find it's getting away from you, sliding away, you can always put it on your mat. And the other consideration is that if you have socks on, I would say take them off, because a part of this experience is your skin, right? That's really your first sense of feeling, of felt sense, is your skin. So we're going to put the ball right underneath the heel, and then I'll turn towards you so you can see, but it's underneath my heel. And then I'm going to line up my toes so that they're in a straight line, and I want to stack my bones. So knees right underneath the hips and ankles right underneath the knees. And then we just take the ball underneath that heel and we push it down. So I'm bending my knee, and then I'm just kind of imagining that the ball is going to fluff back up and it's going to lift. There's a lift back up as I release it. So I'm going to push the ball down. A little bit of effort to do that. I might even feel the muscles in my thigh. So we can't work with the feet without really getting the whole leg line. We'll also be working the knee joints and the hips. You might feel it all the way up to your hip. So imagine that I'm pushing it down, but remember, the whole thing is you're not lifting your foot off of it. It's like you're riding it back up and just focusing on the heel. So if the ball gets too smushed and doesn't pop back up, then try something a little bit stiffer with a little more form. So you could go to that tennis ball. And just feel how the ball itself, after you press into it, will lift the leg line back up. And you might even close your eyes. Another thing I always check is that we tend to look down, right? Try to keep that bone stacking. So still keeping the crown of the head straight up towards the sky. So we drop that plumb line through the body. And the only thing that's really happening here is we're bending a knee and pushing down and then riding back up. So waking up that heel area on the left foot. This is a really great one to do anytime. I like doing this one in the morning. My feet need a little wake-up call. It's like brushing teeth for feet. Do one or two more. All right, and then we're going to take the ball, and it's going to go underneath the arch of the foot, and you can explore anywhere within the arch. So find the ball that's good for you. So this one, again, is a little bit stiffer, but I actually like the feeling of the felt. Sometimes I will use that dryer ball. I like the feeling of the felt wool underneath my foot. Feel your skin, feel all that soft tissue. So your weight will go into your right foot. You can be holding onto the wall for more support. And you may find some really sensitive areas, so go slow. You can roll it. You can also just stop. And if you stop and let it fall, make sure the toes are relaxed. So we're not trying to lift the toes up. and protect that soft tissue in the foot. So just a nice easy rolling. Again, let the bones stack. Just let the weight, even if you're not moving, can you just allow the weight of the left leg to fall into the ball? So sometimes we just hold still, right, and feel the compression without moving. Just let the weight of the leg fall. And then you can move to a different space. And you find those tender areas. It's your choice to be right on the tender area or move slightly to one side of it. You don't have to be right on it. A little self-foot massage going on here. But with full awareness, feel how you're breathing. Can you keep that spinal alignment? Just a few more moments in this left foot. And so we're waking up the root of our spine. And then next, the third position, we put it across the ball of the foot. So I'm not into the soft tissue, I'm not onto the toes yet. The toes will still hang over the front of the ball, lining up my 2 feet again, stacking my bones. Now the heel is on the floor, and I'm gonna do that same, push it down. So smush the ball and ride it back up. There's like a recoil, you're gonna smush it, and then imagine that the ball is lifting you back up. This one you might sense quite a bit more stretch so this might be a tighter area because we get into the calf and the Achilles tendon and the ankle, and you're compressing the front of the ankle. You're just smushing and riding. And notice too, do you just feel it in your ankle? Do you feel it all the way up into the knee joint, into your hip? Sometimes it can travel all the way up to the neck. Just being mindful. And again, trying to keep the toes just softly falling over the front edge of the ball. So we're not trying to grip the toes yet. We will in a moment, but just letting the toes relax. Pushing it down and riding it back up. I like to push with the pinky toe a little bit more, and then also push with the big toe side of the foot. Can you sense a difference going from one side to the other? Last one there. And then the last one we do is the toes themselves. So this one I like the fleecy ball because it sticks a little bit better. But you're going to take the ball, I'll bring it up, and you're going to put it right underneath the toes. And imagine trying to pick the ball up with your toes. So you want to wrap your toes around the ball. I'll even go down there and spread my toes out like I just had a pedicure. And I'm going to spread the toes out around the ball. So there's already lots of sensation just spreading the toes, and I can just slightly push in and pull away. I can also squeeze, imagine my fingers were toes, squeeze the toes and then release or pull away. So focusing on just the movement. Feel all the little bones in the toes. And your left heel's on the ground, still grounded into your bones. Line up the base of the skull with the sacrum. So where's your most comfortable natural position, aligning from the sky to the earth? And just feeling the toes, squeezing and releasing. Pretend like you're trying to pick up that ball with your toes. And then the other thing I like to do, and this is more of an ankle movement, but we'll be more moving on the ankles, is to rock that ball, go onto the pinky toe side, get a nice big stretch in that inner shin, the outer shin, and then rock onto the big toe side. And just taking that ball back and forth, kind of feeling your inner and outer ankle. So we're inverting and everting the ankle, but holding onto the ball with the toes. So that may or may not be one you want to incorporate, or just squeezing and releasing. Last few breaths. Check to see your breath is not getting held up anywhere. And then we'll come off of the ball. And what I'd like you to do is just stand for a moment. Stack. Feel that plumb line coming down through the center of the body. And sense yourself through your bones, starting from your feet. And imagine that you're taking inventory in your own body of the left side of the body and the right side of the body. And more than likely, there's a detectable difference in the feet. But how far up can you detect that difference from left to right? Does it go all the way through the shins and into the knees? Does it go all the way up to the hips? Maybe even into the side body, the shoulders, into the neck. Just noticing. Anybody want to do the right foot? Or should we walk along feeling like we're leaning on one side all day? Let's do the right foot. So I started last time with a pink ball underneath my heel. You can do whatever feels right for you. But remember that when you're coming onto the ball, you want to line your toes up in a straight line. So one foot's not in front or behind the other. That's that stacking of the bones, the most symmetrical but soft, relaxed position you can find. And then the ball of the foot's on the ground, the right foot, and then you're going to smush the ball. You can hold on to the wall for more support, and then ride it back up. And then smush and ride it. In fact, if you want to face the wall with two hands, it's because you feel better that way. You can do that too. You can also use a chair. The back of a chair is great to hold on to. So sense the sensation starting from that compression of the heel into the ball. You're compressing it, and then you're just releasing the compression and riding it back up. Then notice how far, I'm going to switch into the other ball. Notice how far up the leg you can sense that. Does it come into your knee joint, into your thigh? Push, feel your heel bone. A nice big heel bone. So typically what you may notice is when we're working with the heel, we feel more of the back line of the body, particularly the leg. So the hamstrings and the glutes, those will tighten a little bit. Pushing into the heel and then riding it back up. Think of rooting down and just floating back up. Nothing forced to come back up. You can do one or two more. You can always hold that compression too and just let the weight go into the heel. Imagine all the weight of the right side of your body going into that heel. Feel those tissues and then release. Okay, the second position is the soft tissue in the middle by the arch and all the way to the pinky toe side, all the way to the big toe side. So you can kind of have your heel on the ground if you want. Watch that you're not lifting the toes or tightening up the sole of the foot in any way. You can start by rolling it around and just getting a general map of what your foot is feeling today. Sometimes one side is more sensitive than the other, so a real soft roll, just to map it out. But then there's also the option of just being still, letting all the weight feel the leg bones in that lovely right leg, that nice big femur bone, and your lower shin bones, and just let the weight of the bones, even the hip itself, fall into the ball. Soften and relax the toes. So if you're lifting the toes, let them just fall towards the ground. Or go back to exploring with movement. Inner arch of the foot. Different modalities teach different things, but inner arch sometimes correlates with the spine itself. But we're all also working with the organs of the body. Many of the meridians and marma points start in the feet. Noticing those sensitive areas and either going right directly into the sensitive areas, or you can go slightly to the side. Sneak up on them. Sometimes I make funny faces when I do this. I just found a definite spot that was hiding on me. Right in the center, where we'd say the talahridaya, marma, the heart. It's representative of the heart in your foot. Last moment there in the soft tissue. And then we'll be coming to the third position, which is think of the ball of the foot. So behind the actual toes. The toes are just going to hang over the front of the ball. The heel will be on the ground. Line both left and right foot up evenly. So find that symmetry through the body. And then smush the ball. and ride it back up. Feel that recoil as it just kind of pops back up. Tennis balls actually work really well for this because they like to pop up. But what I'm trying to be cautious of, I'm not doing so well, but is to not push with my toes. I'm trying to really sense that it's the ball of my foot pushing and my toes are staying relaxed. And you can explore pushing more with the big toe side, the big toe mound, and the little toe side. Keep the head in line, ears over the shoulders, shoulders over the hips. Just checking in with your breathing. Notice how it ascends up the leg. How do you feel the sensation up your leg? What parts of your leg? You might get more of that stretch now in the back line, particularly the calf and the Achilles. And you're going to feel the compression in the front of your shin and your ankle, the front of the ankle. Last one. This is really more of a myofascial that we're starting with, but I put it in the realm of somatics because all somatics is about that interoception, about the felt sense and embodiment. And I love to be embodied in my feet. I hope you do too. Okay, and then we'll do the last one, which is the toes themselves. 5 lovely toes down there, and if you want to do what I like to do, which is to actually go down and spread the toes around the ball, make space between the toes, heels on the ground, lining up the toes, and then you can either like squeeze the ball and then release, right in the middle, wrap that little toe around. Squeeze and release, or you might just let the weight, there's something about just letting the weight of the leg fall in. So if you're resisting, if you're like, oh, just let the weight of the leg fall in. And then play with that, squeezing the toes towards this ball and then lifting them away. So moving the toes. More specifically, we say that the toes, in a lot of the practices we do, the toes correlate with the neck. So checking to see you're not doing head forward. Keep your chin up, turn your cheekbones up towards the sky just a little bit, like you're receiving the sun on your cheeks. A nice head position. The low ponytail's coming back just a little bit. And you can squeeze and release with the toes. So we don't have to watch it. We just want to feel it. And then the other thing I like to do is go from big toe to little toe side. Brings in a lot more sensation in the ankle. I'm gently squeezing that ball with my toes. Maybe not so gently, depends on what you like. And then going side to side. All right. Last one way and then the other. And then come off again, and we'll just take a moment. I'm going to leave you standing and feel yourself from your feet. What do your roots feel like? If you can imagine that your spine is literally connected to your feet through all of these tissues of your body, can your spine feel your feet supporting it right now? And does that give you a little more sense of relaxation through the shoulders and the hips? The bones are going to hold you up. We don't need to wrap the muscles around the bones. Let the muscles relax. So we're going to start to go to sit down. And if you want the blanket or anything on your mat, please feel free to do that. So I hope you took yourself down onto the ground, and I'm going to give you some options. If you have a blanket or if you do have blocks, you can bring the blocks in too. But the next one we do is it's called toe squat. Some people righteously call it toe torture. So I'm going to ask you to do this just in the way that you can still breathe comfortably and harmoniously, because we're going to be in this position for about 3 minutes. So we start by coming onto our knees. So if you know that you want a little extra padding underneath your knees, you can double up your mat or put a blanket underneath your knees. And then what we do is we tuck our toes underneath us, and I might even go back there like I did on the ball and spread my toes out a little bit, make some space between each toe. And you can start all the way forward. And then what we're going to do is work our way back. So you may find that it's okay to come part way back and keep your hands still on the ground. So this is the first version, and it feels nice because I've got that support of the blanket underneath me, and I can still keep my hands on the ground. But I'm still getting plenty of stretch. You want to feel that stretching through the entire sole of the foot, getting into our spleen and gallbladder meridians and liver, number of our very vital organs down there. So keeping hands on the ground will definitely be a little more relaxing and more calming. If you want to go deeper into it, we could take hands to the thighs. And then what you'll find is as you come up, the weight of the body is going to create more sensation in the soles of the feet. So I actually prefer to do this one without the blanket. So I'm going to remove that. But I'm rolling those toes under, spreading them out. And you may also find that it's more or less comfortable by bringing the knees closer together, further apart. So remember, you could be down here too. And see if you can allow yourself to just let the weight of the upper body go into the thighs and then ultimately all the way into the soles of the feet. If you were your breath right now, can you breathe into the soles of the feet, almost like you can breathe out your toes? And you might also notice the compression in the front of the ankles. You don't have to breathe any particular way, but I do take care to pay attention to my breath when I'm in a yin posture, because so the purpose is to relax, to go into the parasympathetic, the relaxation response. And one of the ways that you'll get the red flag to say you're not doing that, you're doing just the opposite, you're going into that sympathetic fight or flight, is your breath will get choppy or short or in any way restrained. So just watching that you're breathing whatever your natural breath is. So it might be to the belly, to the chest. You don't have to direct it in any space. Especially with some of these like toe tuck, aka toe torture. Just breathing in and out. You might sense that compression in the front of the shins as well. And I like to visualize the organs, some of these organs we just mentioned, like the spleen, the bladder, the liver. Your feet are talking to your organs. And the longer we're in the yin pose, we just watch to see, are we coming to a space of calm? Is there a dulling of sensation, or is there more sensation? And we try to remain still unless there's so much discomfort that you need to come out. Or sometimes we can take it a little further. With this one, I'm already there. I'm as far as I need to be. But we listen. And we only go further if we're invited in. And if we're getting kicked out, then listen to that too. Take about 5 more rounds of breath here. And then you can slowly untuck the toes. Here's the loveliness of what I like to do, is slowly take them out, because coming out is a big part of this pose. And then just gently tap the tops of the feet on the ground. If you don't like that, we're going to be coming onto our back to move the toes a little bit. But I do like to tap them first. So now we'll go back into some movement for the ankles and feet, toes, and ankles. So coming on to our backs, feel free to do whatever you need to be on your back and be in your bones and be relaxed and feel the support underneath your spine. Take a moment of stillness, just still feeling feeling the effects of that last posture. So we're letting the ankles open back up again in the front. So we're relaxed on our back. We're going to do our left leg first. I'm going to be taking the strap, putting around the back of the thigh. I like to do it this way because it gives more sensation into the sole of the foot and the toes and the ankle. And you're going to extend that leg up to whatever degree feels best for you. The closer to the thigh is, so the more bent the knee is, and the lower the foot, the less sensation. So if I go into full extension, I'm going to feel a lot more, not only in my leg, but in my foot. So I'm going to start here. And then we're going to do just the opposite of what we just did. We're going to draw the ball of the foot up towards the sky. So the front of the ankle will be open. So not that compression we just did, but the front of the ankle will be open. And we're going to hold the ankle in that position. We're not going to switch the ankle. And then we're just going to squeeze and stretch the toes. So you're holding the foot in what we call plantar flexion. So the ankle staying still and moving just the toes. See if you can do that. And so sometimes we have to look at it first, like, what is she talking about, right? So go ahead and look at it. Is your ankle staying still? Can you move just your toes? The other thing is we will be stretching the top of the right thigh at some point. So if you want to extend that right leg, you can. If that's too much pulling on your back, don't go there. So, but I'm mostly focusing on my left toes. So if I wanted to feel this a little bit more, I could take the leg up towards the sky. Now I'm really feeling a lot more stretching through that front line of the shin, and it comes all the way through my knee. Keeping the ankle in that flex position, like I'm pushing the ball mount of the foot up towards the sky and moving just the toes. You can even play with just moving your big toe. And just the left foot. Give your left foot all of your loving awareness. All right. And then we're just going to switch that slightly. So now you're going to take the ankle into dorsiflexion, which just is a fancy term meaning pull the top of the foot towards the shin. So that same position we were in when we had our toes in the toe squat, we're going to hold the ankle in that position and then once again move the toes around. Think of when you were squeezing that ball. And notice how much you feel in the sole of the foot, the top of the foot, the ankle. So you can start with your knee bent. If you want a little more sensation, oh, that went right into my heel. You can extend it up. So the straighter the leg, the more you'll feel it, not only through the leg, but perhaps into the foot itself. And you can check, look for a moment. Is your ankle staying still, drawing the top of the foot towards your shin? So it's as if you're pushing your heel up towards the sky. Reach that heel up. Even if you're here, reach the heel up. Draw the top of the foot towards your shin and then move your toes. And then if you're still staring at your foot, try to close your eyes and just feel it. And then relax that. Now we're going to take the ankle into circles. Take your time. So think of the entire circle. Sometimes we think we're doing a circle, but we're not finding our full range of motion. Watch the first few to help yourself. And as you're circling, you can have a very different experience if you think of circling and moving from your heel versus moving from the arch of the foot. Think of all the places that we rolled out in the foot. You could also do these circling movements from the ball of the foot or from the toes. Pick one direction, going really super slow. And notice how much you feel in your shin and your calf. And then if you've been going in one direction, switch it out. Keep the toes relaxed and think of moving from the ankle. So we have to define the parts to feel the whole. So we're defining our ankle joint. And maybe you're feeling your whole leg line. So the other thing is letting the bones of the leg now, instead of falling into the ground, the bones, well, they are falling into the ground, but they're falling from the heel into the hip socket. So you might be holding your leg, but you're also simultaneously letting the weight of the leg just fall into the hip. We'll do one more circle. And then let that come down. Just notice how that foot feels. All right, and then we're gonna switch out. So pause for a moment, feel the difference. I always like to take this moment in between. Such an important part of our movement is the stillness. When we can notice what we've created, what is the creation that you can feel now in your left and right sides. Maybe it's just in your toes, your ankles, but it might be the whole leg line, and you may feel that better by extending your legs. That's up to you. But then we'll start with both feet on the ground to do the right leg. So I'm going to take the strap to the back of the right thigh. And you might start with more of a bend in the knee, thigh bone drawing towards you. And we're going to imagine, so we'd say point the toe, plantar flexion. So the bottom side of the foot, the sole of the foot will tighten, the muscles there. And we're going to keep the ankle in that position and see if we can move just the toes. Notice the compression in the sole of the foot and the space in the top of the foot and the front of the ankle. I didn't feel the compression in the back of the ankle. There is that option again too, to extend that left leg long if you just want to let that fall down. So I'm starting with my knee bent, foot lower, but if I want more sensation, whoa, I'll come up here. And then that just once again for me goes right from the ankle through the knee and even into my thigh, almost into my hip on this side. And I'm just playing with moving my toes. You can look if you need to make sure your ankle's staying still. You're just moving your toes. It should feel nice after sitting on our toes. This makes up for the torture, I hope. All right. We'll relax that for a moment. And then we'll go the opposite direction. So you're going to draw the top of the foot towards your shin. So like you're pressing through your heel. You'll feel that back of the back of the ankle open up again, just like when we were sitting on our toes and toe tuck. And then just moving the toes again, keeping the ankle in that position. Notice how much you feel your foot and your ankle just by moving your toes. That's kind of a lovely experience. We don't think about our toes very often unless you're going to get them painted or you stub one, right? Feel your toes. And then I'm starting with that knee bent, holding the back of the leg. But I'm still thinking too about the weight of the leg bones just falling into the hip. If I want a little more sensation, I'll take it up, keeping that heel reaching up towards the sky and moving just the toes. And if you have one calf that's tighter than the other, this will showboat that for you. This is my tight calf. So whenever we experience those, I call them your flaws, finding your flaws, say nice things to them. No judgment, no worry. It is as it is. All right, last one. And then relax the toes. And then you can have that bigger knee bend as we start to roll our ankle in circles really slow. Or you can keep the leg straighter and roll the ankle. Notice I'm not rolling my hip. Oftentimes I see people, they think they're moving their ankle, and this is what's happening. Their whole leg is doing this. So hold your leg still. Let the shin bone fall into the thigh and the thigh fall into the hip, so that the only thing moving is your ankle. You're going to isolate that movement in the ankle, and then from that, feel the whole of the leg. And you can move from the heel, you can move from the big toe mound, the arch of the foot. Sometimes we think we're going slow and then we look and it's like, woo, so slow it down a little bit. And we can switch and go the opposite direction. feel happy shin, happy calf, outer shin, the soleus. I have certain areas that are really tight and they're just saying thank you right now. Okay, and then drop that down. You can let your legs relax for a moment. So we're going to come into our next yin posture, which once again we'll go into the ankles and the feet, but it'll be the counter pose to the toe tuck. And I will give you a couple of options because sometimes just the child's pose is all we need. So you can roll to one side, take your time. Remember, this is a calming practice. Option again to put a blanket or something underneath your knees if you'd like. So I'm going to show the full version of the pose. So sometimes I say that like yin yoga is a little bit like restorative yoga on steroids. You know, you can really take yourself into some deeper places. But then I'll show you the more restorative one. This is the more aggressive one, I would almost say. But you're going to come onto so if you're using a blanket, what's nice about that is you can come onto your shins. This time we will need to sit back, so if you have any trouble with your knees, you may not be able to go here, and I'll give you another option. Or what you can do is sit on a block or a blanket. So now I've got a lot less pressure in the tops of the ankles because I've got this blanket right at the ankles, which is lifting my feet slightly so not fully pressing into the floor. Plus I've got the block, or maybe even 2 blocks if you want, underneath you. So this is Virasana Hero Pose. If you know that that's not going to work, then my recommendation is to do a child's pose. So we just want to get that top front section of the feet and ankles stretching. You could even do child's pose with knees wide apart. Oftentimes that feels better. Or feet together. You can prop your upper body, so just getting the tops of the feet down. So this might be better for you. Or even this, somewhere here. I'm going to show you the deeper version as well. So without the blanket, I would sit on the top of the feet, and I'm okay without blocks. This one really works better only if you can sit without blocks. So if your knees are compromised in any way, you're taking one of the other versions. We're going to be here again for about 3 minutes. So play with them for a moment. If you want to try this one with me, I start here, and I like to try to draw my inner heels towards one another, because what often happens is the ankles will roll outward. So I draw those inner heels together, and even that creates a lot more sensation. Or I'll try to think of pressing my heels in towards my sits bones. Just a little bit of action there. And now I'm just letting the weight of the upper body once again fall in to my feet. So depending on the level of comfort and flexibility in the front of the ankles, we can stay here for the 3 minutes. You might be in the child's pose, opening the top of the ankles, just feeling really yummy there. Or the way to deepen this is we can take hands behind us and lift the knees. And here's the thing with lifting the knees at a yin, I don't like to hold myself for too long. So what I will do is take either a blanket or a block and put it underneath the knees. So now I can really feel the fronts of the ankles, very spacious. I can feel my sits bones are digging with the soles of my feet a little bit. That's all good. And just allowing some space there. Fine. Place that's real loud, but also quiet. And notice the compression in the knee joints. Actually, the backs of the knees are compressed, the fronts of the knees are open. And breathing however your body wants you to breathe it right now. Just a little bit of foot love today. See if you can find that place of stillness, whether it's in your feet or just feeling the weight of the bones, upper body falling into the lower body now. The effects of gravity are very helpful in this practice. Remember too, in this time that we hold these postures, if you decide you want to change because it's either too much or your body is okay with a little bit more, then make that slow, mindful change from one position to the next. You can be in your feet, you can also be in your organs. You have to know where they all are on the physical level. You know you have them. Say hello. Send them your light and love. Take about 5 to 8 more breaths. Sending some of that juiciness into the fronts of the shins. And feel that the way that the kneecaps have space behind them right now. And we'll slowly come out. So there's a number of ways to counter this. The obvious one is to go back to the toe tuck, but I like to go back and forth in a little bit of movement. So I tuck my toes and then I take them down and tuck and down. And sometimes more of a nervous system thing is I'll do one foot and then the other foot, or I'll try to put the top of one foot on the ground while the other toes are rolled under, and then switch it out. Just like if you were walking, right? So as the tops of the toes on one foot go down, the bottoms of the toes on the other, sort of walking in place. And last one. Then we have one more somatic movement paired with one more yin pose. And this last somatic movement is more of a full leg line movement. And so I'm going to have you come down. We'll continue with the left leg first. So I'll have you come down onto the right side of your body. I'm going to keep a blanket handy. And if you have a slippery floor, all the better. You're going to want to be able to slide your foot. But we'll come down onto our right side. And if you want something, here's the deal with the head, is that it's okay to have the left side of the neck longer than the right. But if we support the head, what we don't want to do is lift the head so high that the left side of the neck is shorter than the right. So you're either just down here resting or finding a neutral neck with a pillow or a blanket or something like that. And then your right leg can be slightly extended, just so you don't feel tippy. I actually like being down here. You can use your arm too. And we're going to take this left leg, and this is actually a movement we do for the psoas called the Psoas Slide, but I love doing this from my foot. So the idea of allowing yourself to explore the mobility of the leg from your foot. So we're going to extend that left leg, and just notice how you'll be resting on the big toe side of the foot. And then you're going to begin to draw the left thigh towards you, but as you do that, try to get the pinky toe side of the foot down onto the ground. So I'm not just bringing it towards me and I'm keeping my foot on the ground, but not only the big toe side, I'm trying to flatten the foot on the ground as I lift. So the other way to think of it is, if you can get that pinky toe down, the inner knee is going to lift away from the ground. And then I'm going to slide it away. And when I slide it away, I'm going to reach my big toe away from my knee. And I like to take the leg all the way back. So feel that whole front line open up, not just the front of the ankle that we've been working on, but the whole left leg. So I reach it back, and you can do that on the ground too. You just got to keep that right leg out of the way. And then pinky toe side down, like you're trying to
Flex that ankle, top of the foot towards your shin, slide it towards you, and then slide it away. And just focus on moving this leg. So this is flexion of the hip and the knee, and then extension of the hip and the knee. But imagine that you're moving your leg from your foot. Going really slow. And you may see I like to put my left hand on my hip because the one thing I'm trying to avoid is letting this hip rock back and forth. I'm just letting the pelvic bones are stacking, so my left hip bone is stacking on top of the right, and I just keep that still and move from my hip crease. From the hip crease, but really initiating from the foot. Stretch the top of the foot as you take the whole leg line back, point those toes, and then draw the top of the foot towards your shin, slide it towards you. I often find that my head and neck want to respond to this movement, however it wants to respond. So another thing that I'll see a lot, I do this one a lot in my somatics class with people, is that as they slide the foot towards them, the heel's lifting up. You really want to keep that heel grounded and try to get the pinky toe. Even if, if I let my heel lift, I can bring it all the way here. It's not about how far you go. You want to let that ankle move. So we're actually in inversion of the ankle there. And then extend it. Just doing a few more at your own pace. Last one. And let that fall down. So this time I'm going to have you roll right onto your back, because we're going to do one leg at a time with the somatics and the yin, and then somatics and yin. So we're going to roll onto our back. Pause there for a moment. We're going to do a half happy baby. So this will come into our feet, but it really addresses the whole leg line. So we'll start with the left leg. You're going to bring the left leg in. One of the ways I like to do it is if you have a strap that closes, you can actually put the strap around your waist, so then your arms don't have to hold the strap, but that's up to you. And then you're going to bring that left leg in. Start with your right foot on the floor, please. Bring the left leg in. So we know the happy baby is both legs like this, right? We're going to do one leg, just the left leg in the happy baby. So see what your hip likes, obviously, but it might want your knee wider over to the left side or towards the midline of the body. And then see if you can start to get that foot up towards the sky. If you can get it up there, you can either just hold the back of your thigh, you could hold your ankle, or you can use your hand on the foot, or as I'm doing, the strap. And then I don't even have to use my arms because I can just let my arms ground. So what I'd like you to do is put the strap right on the heel. And then slightly, just to start, resist with the heel. So you're going to feel the strap pulling, if you have the strap, and if you don't, that's okay. You're going to feel the strap pulling on the heel, and then push into that. Just a little bit, create some resistance. And then let the weight of the thigh just fall into the body. So again, you might be wider over to the side here, or more to the center, but we're finding the half happy baby with just the left leg, trying to stack the ankle over the knee. That doesn't mean it happens, but we get there. So we're going to hold this. Again, you might be holding the back of the thigh or the calf or the foot. And then we can also go into the right leg. This is optional. It'll be a big stretch for the top of the right thigh, but if you choose to do that, you're going to extend the right leg and reach the right toes away. So press through the ball mount of the foot. So that foot's in plantar flexion just for a moment. Take it into plantar flexion, reach, feel that whole front line lengthen, and then just shake it out and relax it. And you have landed. So land into your bones. You can let your arms relax if you're using the strap. I like using the strap around my body because my arms can be wherever they want to be. My head can roll. But trying to find that place of quiet stillness. And quiet may not be quiet thinking, meaning there's nothing going on in your body, you're not saying things to yourself. Quiet more meaning you're on the inside, you're not on the outside. So there's the noise from the outside, the distractions, and those happen. And then there's the noise on the inside. So we're just trying to make the outside noise quiet so we can actually connect with and hear the inside noise. And just notice the strength of that left heel bone, particularly if you have the strap on there. But relax the toes. The lovely thing about doing this pose is if you can picture, even touch your big femur bones, right? Big, beautiful bones on the tops of the legs. The front of the left femur bone is falling to the ground or towards your rib cage. And the back of the right femur bone just falls to the ground. Connect with your bones. And the feet and ankles are just setting the tone for the rest of the leg. So if you feel your left ankle, it's in a point of flexion where the top of the foot is drawing towards the shin. And then the leg, the top of the left thigh is drawing towards the body. And then the right leg is just the opposite. The top of the ankle is open, the shin's open, top of the thigh is open. I can tell I'm getting into some deeper tissues. I'll start to get a little bit shaky. And if you have anything like that happen in a yin posture, you have to decide, I've done this long enough, I know that that's part of my routine of release. So if it's comfortable for you, go for it. If not, you know you can back out. We'll be here for about 10 more breaths. So if you notice this position, particularly if you do have your right leg extended, if you're used to doing lunge pose in yoga, low lunge pose particular, Anjayasana, that's basically the pose that your legs are in right now. When you're ready to come out, if you do have the strap on, you can release that strap, come out really slow. Left foot can come down, feel the weight of that left thigh just fall. You can slide your right leg in, so you can decide here if you just want to be still, or if you need some windshield wipers, that might feel good, a little bit of movement in between. And notice the difference, because we not only did the yin stretch on the left side, but we did the sliding, right? We did the somatic sliding too. And I know for me to go into windshield wipers right now, it's like I don't feel like I even own my right leg, or I don't want to, and my left leg is just all happy-go-lucky, saying thank you. And even the windshield wipers, feeling yourself rolling onto the pinky toe of one side and at the same time the big toe of the other side, the other leg, right? Just this magic that happens. It's so simple, but we miss it. All right. And then we're going to finish up with that opposite side. You can turn however you need to. I'm going to turn so I'm facing you. We'll be coming onto the left side of the body. Unless you did the left already, then switch sides. You can use the blanket underneath your head. I like to use my arm. Remember to keep your neck in either a neutral position, or if it's down like this, that's okay. We just don't want to shorten that right side of the neck. Just keep it relaxed, resting. Let the weight fall into that left hip now. You can extend your left leg slightly, because if it's bent too much, it'll get in the way of the slide. So extend it just enough that it's comfortable. And then we extend the right leg, and notice how when you extend the right leg, you'll be resting on the big toe side. Just let the weight of the whole leg fall and feel yourself from the hip, maybe even from the waist to the big toe side. And then you'll begin to slide that leg up, and as you slide it, see if you can get the little toe side of the foot to the ground. So it's like you're lifting your inner knee away from the ground, outer knee up towards the sky, but you're rolling the pinky toe down. And then you're going to extend it. And then you can stop here, but what I like to do is lift the foot, reach the toes away from my ankle, and take the whole thigh line back. So the hip and the knee are in extension along with the ankle. And I'm going to bring it back. And pinky toe side to the ground. And when we do these movements, it's about being present in what we feel and letting yourself move so slow that we don't miss anything from beginning to end. So right, enjoy the ride, that whole journey from one end point to another. I can sense I'm moving from my foot, but I can notice what's happening in my right outer hip when it stretches right now, and my inner thigh stretches, and then feeling these right hip and buttocks muscles tighten as I take the leg back. Watch that as you slide the right leg towards you, you're not letting the heel lift up. Keep grounded through the arch side of the foot and try to get the pinky toe side down. Move from your foot. Reach the toes and let the whole thigh line follow the toes as if you're standing on your tippy toes. Making yourself as long and tall as you can. Moving at the appropriate pace for you. Just do one or two more. See if the head wants to respond. And then we'll roll on to our backside. Get that strap if you have it. Remember, this can be done without the strap. But if you have a long enough one that closes, I encourage you to take it if you've never done it. Put it around your waist, so where your low back is relaxed, though. We want to keep the low back on the ground. Both feet start to the floor while we find that right leg in the half happy baby. So just drawing it in first, that position of flexion. And see, where is your hip crease happiest so it's not bone on bone? Does it like being towards the center more, the knee towards the center of your body? Or it might go out to the side. Find that space. I know for me, if I go really wide, it's just kind of wanky for my hip crease. So I can feel like it's bone on bone. So find that spot, and then you can start to extend up, trying to get the heel more over the knee, so that 90-degree angle. You can hold the back of the right thigh. You could hold your ankle, or you could hold the foot. Or if you have the strap, put the strap on the heel. And I already have mine short from the last one, so I've got it right in the right. Actually, I may have to loosen it on this side. And I put that heel in there, and I'm going to initially, you can do this with your hand too, I'm going to initially push into the strap just to create that sense of a little bit of work, like you're pushing your heel up, but the strap is pulling your leg down. And then just let it go. Let the strap just hold your leg in that half happy baby. Relax the toes. Just feeling the connection of your hands wherever they are. If you've got the strap or your hands on your heel, feel the connection of the heel, top of the foot drawing towards your shin, top of the thigh drawing towards your body or the floor. And then if you would like to take that left leg out long, Whoops, I went too fast. I'm going to go really slow because I'm going to feel that through the top of my thigh. And you want to watch that your low back doesn't arch and lift. So if it does, then you might want to keep a small bend, or you could even put something underneath that left knee as you extend. Reach the top of the foot, reach the toes away from your body. So press the ball mount forward and just feel that whole front line open up. And then once you find that, just relax the leg. The whole front of the leg is now open, front of the left leg. And just letting the weight of the right leg fall in to the torso. And remembering too, I like doing this half version because for most of us, our hips are not the same. You know, we may have a different feeling or sensation or positioning for one side versus the other. We're just noticing that in our bodies without trying to counteract it or change it. Let the two sides be different. They each are their own characters, I say. They each have their own personalities. My right leg personality is very different than my left leg personality. One might be naughty and one might be very sweet and considerate. Checking in with the flow of your breath. And feel your feet, how your awareness and presence in your feet and what your feet are doing is setting the tone for the entire leg, through the knee and through the hip. So the left foot is reaching, the left leg is reaching, the right foot here, drawing it in towards the body, the ankle and the foot, and then that whole right leg is drawing in towards your body. If you practice regular hatha yoga, you can picture yourself. You're in a low lunge right now, but instead of falling into the ground belly side down, you're letting the generosity of your thigh, the weight of your thigh, just fall towards your body without any force. So the majority of the weight of your body is rested and supported. All that needs to fall is the weight of the legs. Make any subtle adjustments as the time goes on. We'll take about 10 more breaths. When you're ready to come out, you can let that right leg slowly fall. You let the right foot feel the ground. It likes that, right? Let the heel find the ground and the ball of the foot. And you can slide the left leg in if it was extended. And I find the simplicity of the windshield wipers feels wonderful. The next pose we do is Shavasana Relaxation. And just allowing yourself to be guided through windshield wipers from the feet. Can you do that? Can you let your shins and your thighs follow the feet as you go onto the pinky toe side on one leg and the big toe side of the other? And how much did working into your feet give you a more expansive understanding of your whole leg line all the way up through the center of your universe in your pelvis? Just loving this lower half of our body today. From the personality of the feet. If the feet had to write a book about your body, what would they say? How do they see you? And then one last suggestion before we go into Shavasana that may feel good for you is a full happy baby. I find it's a lot more generous and sweeter after doing the half, and you can move around. You might even roll your low back out. If you find you need to extend more, you can take it into a straight leg position and just rock a little bit. Anything else that feels good for you until you're ready to find that still position. And that still position could be lying down. Please feel free to do that. Cover yourself with a blanket if you're lying down, and make it so that you're not going to snooze, but that your body is so comfortable that all you want to think about is your body. You just want to be in there because you know that you're completely supported. So instead of your mind saying, are we done? Can I go do something else? It's like, wait, I still have more time in my body, and now my body just is extra delectable, right? Or if you'd like, you can join me in a seated position. Wherever you are, I invite you and send the invitation to yourself to play with bringing awareness into your feet. Whether you choose one toe, one on each foot, or the same one on each foot. You could choose the top of the foot, the whole arch of the foot, the heel bones, the ankles. See your breath as not just the physical breath, the oxygen and the carbon dioxide, but as that life force that comes in and out of your body. And as the life force, send it down into your feet, as if your toes could breathe. Notice the way that your body empties and fills with your breath. Can you see yourself as if your feet are pulsating just like your body does with your breath? Your feet expand and relax. Maybe you can see each of the toes. And maybe there are some you can't see, and that's okay too. Always noticing what we can and can't experience in our own bodies. Can you find where the inner ankle bone is in the right ankle and the left ankle? If you allow your mind's awareness to go across, can you find the outer ankle bones? The outer right ankle bone, the outer left ankle bone. Are those in your vision today? Can you feel the back of your heel? That beautiful watery tendon in the back of the heel. And even the heel bone itself, so strong. Let the soft tissue in the center of the foot just open and close with your breath. And overall, just notice if your feet, do they feel big or small, long or short?
get to know the parts, particularly the feet, your roots of your spine. And from that part, know the whole. Begin to bring your awareness into the lower legs and the knees, traveling up from the feet, into the thighs, the fronts and backs of the thighs, and the whole pelvis. Let your feet feel your pelvis. Feel the back of the body all the way from the base of the spine to the base of the head. And then feel the front of the body, the softness of the abdomen, all of those vital organs through the chest and the lungs, the base of the throat. Let your feet even feel your arms all the way to your fingers. It's like they're second cousins hanging out there, the hands, the feet. Similar, but quite different. And then feel your own face, your head, all of your doors of perception, eyes, nose, ears, mouth, skin. And see if there's something generous and kind that you can come up with to either see or say or create a sensation in your feet. Something, some message to your feet. You could see them as a color, as an element, a temperature, or just say something to them. I often just like to say to them, thank you for all the places that you've taken me. In many ancient traditions, we believe that the feet hold the memories of our previous incarnations. And if you want to end your practice where you are on the ground, you're welcome to, or come to a seated meditation. I'm going to take my hands to the center of my heart. I honor you and bow to you and thank you for practicing and loving your feet with me today. Peace and joy and love and light. I hope you can walk in peace and joy and love and light and share that with everyone on your path today and in the next few weeks and so forth and so on. Namaste.